Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and I am here doing one of my favorite videos, After the Pin Flip Through of September. So I'm so excited to be able to flip through this. You guys, I felt like September just like flew by and I really don't know what happened. And now we're here starting the holiday season and I don't know. So one thing I'll say before we get into the flip through is that in the next couple of months I will be very, very pregnant and delivering a baby. And so I've decided for at least the rest of the year 2022 to take a little bit of a break from YouTube. It will be where I'm recording videos at a less frequent pace, and so I won't be posting videos just as often. So I'll still record videos, it just won't be all the time. So I hope you understand. It's just it's the holiday season, I'm pregnant, I've for the past 2 days, I felt like I've slept like 24 hours. So it's just like very, very busy right now. And I just need to prioritize other things. So anyway, with that being said, I will be at a less frequent posting rate for YouTube. But all that aside, September flip through. I do Frankenplan, and so I have it set up on expander discs. These are like plastic gold discs that I have just kind of in my space. I did put this Hello Happy cover on there just because I thought it was just like really nice and sunny and just like beautiful for us to look at. But if you don't know what Frankenplanning is, it's basically being able to combine multiple planners into one. And so I needed like the expander disc so that way I could fit like all the things in this planner. So with that being said, then I'm gonna open it up and show you what I've got. First things first, I put this I guess like this sticky note dashboard in here, which I never use. So it's really, I guess, unnecessary for me to have it in here, but I just had that in there. Then my hello page with my goals, none of which I reference this month. And then I have, starting here, basically an old page, but then I do in the month of September, I did list out some of my major future events over here. So what I do is in the current month, like September, if something, or like for September, if something happened in that month of September, it would just go on my monthly. And so I used in September, October, November, December of like this year. And then I also didn't put it in here, but I also have pages for 2023. And so again, I'm just trying to scale back a little bit. So I do have 2023 in my homework space, my planner area, but it wasn't something that I carried around with me. So with that being said, though, that was just like the first beginning front material. The very first section of this planner is my work planner. And so in this section, I essentially keep like a monthly spread that you see ended up using 2 days. And so I did start off using like big happy planner. It's not big happy planner pages. It's big tool size pages, letter size tool daily pages. And I did for the most part use that, and so I ended up like kind of tucking them into this folder. This is a DIY pocket that I made, and so this is what we've got here. I'll actually ship this so you can kind of see it. Right, so this was September 1st, and here's September 6th, it says, and that is because I work Mondays through Thursdays, and then the 5th was a holiday, right? I do have a couple of additional notes here. This came from the 2nd. Oh, I do remember that I went on like a leadership training. And so that was from the 2nd, which is Friday. And this information has to be blurred out and this information has to be blurred out. So that was all the leadership training stuff that happened on Friday. And so then I showed you Tuesday, and then here is like some notes from Wednesday. Just like random notes that I took on this random sheet of paper that I had in my office, and this was the actual sheet that I had. I did decorate the first couple of days here just because it was kind of fun to be able to do that. Here's September the 8th. And then what I did decide to do was just kind of like use Remember the Milk. And I need to do a separate video on Remember the Milk, but basically it's my brain dump for like all the like long-term tasks, all the tasks that I like basically don't finish from week to week. And so it ends up moving here, and I did decide to print out just my work only tasks. And so those pages are here. I didn't use this pretty much for the beginning of September. And so these tasks are here. I'm blurring out this page just because there's student names on there. Right, but I'll show you this one. Right, and then like towards that point, like basically from like the 1st through the 7th, 8th, 9th, basically, I was using just like those tool daily pages and like the combination of pages that I have here. But then you saw like on the very end there, I had sticky notes that I ended up, a sticky note saying that I was doing my continuing education, my professional development credit. And I decided to move into this tiny little notebook. This is kind of like I guess like, I don't have a ruler with me, but I'm thinking like 5x7, maybe 5x8, 6x8. But this little notebook, so I could take notes from my professional development. And so these are just the notes from that. And then since I was in here taking notes and kind of like, you know, I don't sit down and do all of my continuing ed in one go. So, you know, I did split it up. So since I was splitting it up, I decided to go ahead and use these pages to track work as well. And so I just kept it like very similar to like a bullet style where it's just like chronologically, you know, I just moved to the next page and just kept writing. Right, so here's the 13th and the 14th, 15th and 16th. And then I guess I skipped a couple of days, I'm not quite sure, or I just messed up because I'm not quite sure. Oh yeah, I must have not worked Saturday or Sunday. So here's the 19th, 20th and 21st, 22nd, 23rd, right, and then 26th. And then this is a sheet that is my board renewal notice. And then here I have just more notes, more and more notes, the 28th. And then that was pretty much the end because the 28th was pretty much the end of the month until, well, it wasn't the end of the month. I had 2 more days for work. And that was essentially like a leadership training. So I did a leadership training at the beginning to kind of like work out and prep the facilitation. And then I have notes here for the actual facilitation. I did 2 days, 29th and 30th. And so this is a workbook that I found off the internet and used for the training. And so I won't flip through all of it, but basically it was wellness in 8 dimensions. You can definitely Google it if you're interested in looking at this. And since I was facilitating, it was pretty much just doing all the notes. All right, and that's what I've got. Okay, so that was the very first section, very, very long. I feel like always flipping through like daily pages takes a little bit longer than everything else. But yeah, I enjoy looking at functional spreads, and so my work section was definitely super functional for me this month. And now that I'm done with like the letter size stuff, I think at least, I'm gonna zoom in just a tiny bit and we'll talk about starting in section 2. This section 2 is my chore section, and what I ended up doing was going back in and using some of these like daily chore pages from the household extension pack. And I had several copies of it just because I felt like I needed it. I did at one point, like this was towards the end of the month, I did decide to like try to my hand at some of the stamping, and I think it looks so cute like that, right? And so I might in 2023 do a lot of stamping for my household chores just because, oh my gosh, like doesn't that look so beautiful? Like for me, it's just like perfection to like look at that and like how like organized and neat that looks. So, and then I also, like this is backwards, but like I also tracked Sophia's chores. She was definitely not as good about doing her chores in September. And so here's like the 5th week of September. And so that's how I did that, but it is backwards. That will go into her memory book. And then I had a bunch of like household tasks. And again, like I mentioned, Remember the Milk, my digital task manager earlier. I decided to go through Remember the Milk and list out all of like the tasks that we had here. I did this, you can see here on the 9th. And these are like, actually I said major tasks, but it's major tasks, minor tasks. I just basically organized it by like the rooms in our new house and pulled all the things from Remember the Milk that I thought I wanted to do, just room by room. And it's like long-term projects, not anything that I necessarily like have to get done right away. And then this page is my service log. I think I need to update, like we've definitely had like one more lawn care service since then, but this is a service log for like some of the major tasks that we've had since moving into our house. We've been here now 3 months. No, 2 full months, August and September. And so we're starting the beginning of the 3rd month. And then I also like on a random sheet of paper that I had like trimmed down off like a letter size paper, made a list of like some of the snacks that are in our pantry, like totally random, but I thought I would stick that in there. And then here are like some tasks, again, in Remember the Milk. At one point I was like unable to like carry around my planner and use my planner. And so I had a bunch of like carryover tasks, things that I've actually finished. I just never went in and checked them off or like cleared them out of Remember the Milk. And so I finally sat down on the 27th to kind of write them all out. It just is relaxing to me to write things out by hand. And then I just was able to clear them out of Remember the Milk. And so those are all these tasks right here. And yeah, so that was my second section, the chores section. And you can see that it was mostly a mix of like, it wasn't actually like a real planner per se. It was just mostly like just random pages. And that's what I'm doing in October as well. So that definitely worked out for me in September. So I like to keep it if it's working. All right, so then the third section, we finally move into like a classic size planner. And so this third section is my personal / catch-all section. And so the very first thing is, of course, the monthly spread. I did use Heather Kell's latest like her latest box, which is very similar to the Be Happy box, but it's the Blushing Fall Florals to set this up. And I listed all the events. Yeah, so I think it looks really, really cute. Right, and then here, get this out of the way, is my first spread. This is the first time I've like moved back into decorative planning in this planner, so I really love it. It's the transition from like August into September, which I tend to think of September 1st as the first day of fall, even though I know like it's from from an astrology perspective, it's not actually the first day, but this is what we did. I also had like random notes here. You can see here on like these sheets of paper. And this was my on-the-go setup at the very, very beginning of September. And I quickly abandoned that. I just thought it was just too much to like duplicate the writing back and forth. And so I definitely got rid of that. Right, and then here's week number 2 is definitely less decorated. I just decided to stick with like a very monochromatic, like teal turquoise color, and just laid out some of the like decorative boxes that I hardly ever use, and so that just got in there. I did have some sticky notes that I wrote on, and then again, just to not duplicate it, I just punched it and put it right back in there. Right, and then this I'll have to clear out a little bit, just because some of this, right, I might not be able to show you, but like here we have my third week. I don't like these stickers, but in general, like it got the work done. And then I had, of course, you saw like some notes in between, but I'll show you the stuff that I can show you. These were some of the like, again, like just brain dump stuff from like Remember the Milk that I had in here. Right, and then here's another page. The weekend right here, because I filled it up with stickers, I couldn't write on there, so I did make a 17 with like the to-do list, and then the 18th with, I didn't bother copying the to-do list back over, but like the list from that day, and some more to-do lists, right? So that's what's there, right? And then I'll stick in the stuff that I couldn't show you before. All right, and then here again, right? And then here, I had to pull something else out, but this is like a definite fall spread just because this was the first day of fall right here. So it's really cute. I love it. I love being able to write all my major events here and just like random notes to myself, to-do list, all that type of stuff. And then I have like another handout, which I'll just flash on screen really quickly. That's like medication that I picked up from Walgreens, right? And then this is the last spread for September. It does have October 1st and 2nd, but because I moved into a Big Happy planner, I did recreate this spread just for October 1st and 2nd. So this spread is just the 26th through the 30th in my classic size. And so that's what I wrote in this particular planner. And so that is my classic catch-all. I did at one point do weekly plus daily, and so I have this sheet of paper in here just pasted in from that. But again, not to show this to you, but I'm gonna just like quickly flip through this. I did again use Remember the Milk as kind of like my brain for several months, and so I did go through, it has like 600 tasks in there, but I went ahead and printed it at the very beginning of the month. All right, like it says September 8th. I printed it out on September 8th and basically just tried to like get back in here and like mark out a lot of these tasks just to be able to try to clear out the 600 to like something that's a little bit more reasonable. But a lot of these things you can see like right here, like there's one that says transatlantic cruises. Those things are things that really should be on like my bucket list. I just haven't pulled out my bucket list and written them on there. So anyway, just like I just have random stuff on like basically what's my like brain dump, my digital brain dump. Remember the Milk. Okay, so that was my third section. Fourth section here is my social media. And so you can see here it's like basically the back of a divider, which I wrote in some information here, but I don't even have the second half of it. And then right here is the start of September 1st. And so this spread was actually in my August planner, but then I just pulled it out and stuck it in here just to be the start of September. And then I have a couple of notes here, like this is just one from like you can see March 2022. And it's just in there just because I need to do something with it. And then this like journaling card I was using just kind of as a separator between the August spread and the September spread in my August planner. And so since this was September, I just moved it over here as well. So this basically like half a spread, as you can see. And what I use my social media for in terms of, this is like a color block layout. I just basically write fairly like chronologically like what I've done in terms of social media. So that could be YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or anything planner related. And so I just keep track of those things. All right. And here's the first full week. I did use some, I think, wild style stickers in here, or like Be Wild. I'm not quite sure what the name of the sticker book was, but I decided to pull that out and just kind of like write in it. And again, like it's just chronologically by day. And then I had a couple of like notes for what I wanted to do, like even on the 8th of September, I was kind of sketching out like what I wanted to do for my October lineup. And then I was just, again, like kind of having fun with stamping. So I stuck that in there just because it belongs here, I guess. All right, and then here, I didn't use this spread you can see here because this basically was when I was starting to like really dive mid-September into like holiday planning and holiday prep. And so I printed out this cover, which is like listed right here, and I underlined it. But then because I had that right here and didn't have space for the 12th, 13th, and 14th, I just used random sheets of paper. And then like started going back in and downloading all the stuff from Wild U because I did get charged the annual membership for that. So I wanted to at least attempt to get back into that, right? And so then I have like all the Wild U like majors. I think it's just the majors. It might be the minors as well. But then like, again, starting to get back into that. I won't actually flip through that just because that's proprietary information and I don't have anything anyway. But this is just to like cover it up, all right? And then we're gonna move back into basically, it's supposed to be the 12th, 13th, and 14th, but it's like random like date. So I whited that out, and then I went back into like tracking it, basically starting on the 14th and then moving 15th through 18th. You can see like how I plan is basically using whatever I have on hand. So I do try to stick with the color block, but sometimes I just need more room, and that's totally okay. Right, and then here's the 19th through the 25th. Again, like here's like a random sticky note. I did really well this month in September with like at least putting down a couple of stickers each week. Right, and then this week, speaking of stickers, I laid down 0 stickers, and so it's like just pinned to paper. And then 28th here, I got like really heavy into like trying to organize my holiday planners, and so I have like notes, like random sticky notes. And because I had the random sticky notes and I ended up getting my Happy Mail from Wild U, I decided to kind of like make this insert here to separate. And most of this happened on the 28th, you can kind of see here. So I thought it was good, just kind of put it in the middle. And then here's finishing out the month. And again, because I'm moving into the Big Happy Planner, I really just did it for the 29th and 30th. And these 2 days I was on leadership training. So this week I was just very busy with like holiday planning or prepping for the leadership training. So again, color block layout, social media section. And I think that was my 4th section. So this section is my 5th section, and this is my faith section. What I'm using here is a horizontal layout. I don't even use like the monthly, but I did start off with like a horizontal layout, as you can see here. This will be blurred out, but basically I use like very small, like the little label stickers, and just listed out all the September birthdays. I decided to try to at least like have this right here so that way I could like open this up and see their names and pray for them in the month of their birth. So that's what is right there, even though that's blurred out. Right, and then this is the first set here. The horizontal layout is outdated, and I basically just use the blocks as I need to. So here's the 2nd, the 3rd, the 5th, and both of these boxes are the 5th. And then if I turn over, then it goes into the 18th. Let me double check. No, okay, that's not correct. Right, then when I turn over, then it goes from the 5th to the 11th, the 12th, the 15th, the 18th, right? And some of this will have to be blurred out just because it's like actual prayer requests. But then I did like have some coloring, like right here, like coloring, Mommy and Sophia were coloring. And so this is one of the pieces that I did that day. And then I have like random sermon notes, and sermon notes like basically took up 3 boxes. I just use as much or as little space as I need for my journaling here. And I really enjoy using the horizontal layout in October. one of the biggest things that I've already noticed is that I'm going to have to like really be a little bit more deliberate about like using like a big size vertical layout and try to adapt what I'm doing here to make sense in a vertical layout. So, but I do like to adapt, so we'll see how that goes. And here's just continuing it. This one has no stickers. But again, some of this will have to be blurred out because it is like actual like names and prayer requests, right? Actually, most of it is prayer requests. So that's that. And then here, more prayer requests, right? And then I included in here some notes from like very early on, like January. Trying to at least look at this every once in a while so that way I can get back into recording my positive psychology series. But I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, kind of taking a little bit of like a slow down on YouTube, and so this will definitely be one of those things that I have not given up on it. I'm just going to put it on hiatus until 2023, and I'll see if I repick it back up at that point. And then I just have like the rest of the pages that I was trying to use all the outdated pages here, but yeah, that's it for Faith. Okay, and then this next section is my budget section. So this is like the 6th section. I use the monthly layout to basically track all of our bills, anything that's automatically pulled out of my account. So bills and like my services, like subscriptions, that kind of thing. So they're all listed here. I did miss a couple of subscriptions. So I do list like some smaller subscriptions, like planner subscriptions and like my Nintendo Online subscriptions separately, just because those are not necessarily like things I have to have, you know? And then here is my budget, which I think set this up on video. If not, it's very similar to my July or August budget setup. And it's definitely the same numbers that I use for my October setup, which is a recent video on my channel. But these are all of the categories that I consider my variable expenses. So everything on the monthly spread are like all the fixed costs that I have. And of course it varies somewhat, like things like power and stuff like that. But I do have a set date and time to pay those things. But here's all like basically the spending money that I have. So that's that. And then here's where I track, like basically I didn't go back in and do the ending balance. So this is just the beginning balance for all of these categories over here. And some of which are like already red. I guess for the first time you'll get to see like we're like very much in the hole. We did have the money. We pulled money out of savings to be able to pay our down payment for our house. But I do consider it part of like, we also pulled a little bit out of checking. And so this is not the amount that we pulled out of checking, definitely not. We're not negative that much. It's just how much I need to put back into savings to be able to like, for me, be comfortable with like how much we have in our savings account. And so that's how much we've got there. I never budget to the point of like a zero base balance, or at least it's to the point of like, you know, it's zero base in the sense of like every dollar that I don't account for in a category goes to savings. But I don't try to like budget like almost to that amount and only send a couple of $100s to savings. I actually try to send about $2,000 to savings every month, right? So with that being said, then here's just a running to-do list or a running log of like all of my expenses. I put the date, the description, and the amount, obviously, and this is the category that comes from this page. And what I do here is subtract from that category's like subtotal. And so you can see here like food and fun definitely were in the red. And this one, that will have to be, all right. And then this page is just continuing it with like some items. Like here, there are some notes I put in red just because like I need to double check on a couple of things. I have like some money that I need to transfer over from like my personal account to my joint checking account with my husband, right? And it's just tracking all the things, and I just do that throughout. Yeah, so it's a pretty straightforward system, I think. I don't think I do anything super crazy with my budget. Yeah, so that's it. Okay, a couple of extra pages there. We're getting towards the end here. Like this is the last section, this very last section, which is I think the 7th planner, is my food log. And I did go back to finally using the monthly layout or the monthly spread here just to track like steps and things like that. I need to go back in and like finish. But I also track like big health items like whether I took a nap or not, which I did a lot of that in September. And then like here for this, I used the an outdated wellness layout and dated it for the week. And then I, instead of like trying to make it like where Nourish was only in one box and then I was journaling and doing all these things, I did try to journal the first couple of weeks, but then I just moved into like using it just for food logs. So I just do breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner. In the first week I did that in the first couple of boxes there and then journaled at the bottom. But then second week I did the same thing. And I did, you can see, like very good about like putting stickers down in September. But starting in the third week, I did a little bit of journaling, but it started to move to where like I was writing into that space. All right, sorry, I keep having to pull stuff out just because it's like private information, but then like I didn't journal here. And again, it's like moving into this private space right here. And then I have some notes on the back of here, right? And then I wonder if so here, like this very last week, you can kind of see, like since I heavily decorated this, I stopped journaling altogether like a couple of weeks in. And so like some of my, my notes, my food log stuff just ended up going down in that space, and that's totally fine for me. And again, because I'm using or moving into a big layout, I ended up like stopping basically on the 30th, even though I still had Saturday and Sunday here. All right, and so that is all. Again, random outdated pages there. I really enjoyed that. I thought September was really good for me. It was very, very busy, very productive, but very busy. And even with all of that, this planner really got me through all of it. But now we're getting to the point where like I'm going to doctor's appointments like constantly, like every other day, I feel like. I'm sleeping all the time, and I'm just like, it's not even that I'm busy, it's just like I'm having to prioritize the pregnancy and just make sure that I'm staying healthy. And so that just has to kind of like take up all of my energy. And so I am deciding to just kind of take a little bit of a slowdown on YouTube. And we'll still like record videos. It'll still be mostly functional planning. I'm definitely not doing plan with me's or anything like that. It's been a little while since I've done like a decorative planning plan with me kind of video, but I'm going to slow down just a little bit to focus on family. And you know, I definitely will show you what my October planner looks like and talk to you about like life and things like that, but it will be just a little bit slower than the almost every day kind of posting that I've been trying to keep up with for the past couple of years. So I hope you understand, but I also hope that you enjoyed this flip through. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.